Hello everyone, my name is Dobaria Niketan and here we are discussing a subject basic electrical engineering. In our previous video, we had started our first chapter and that is DC circuits. In our previous video, we had started with basic terms related to simple electrical circuits in which we had discussed basic terms like what is voltage, what is current, what is potential different, power and energy. So in this second video lecture, here we are going to discuss the next topic of our first chapter DC circuits and that is electrical circuit elements. So here we are going to discuss basic circuit elements as given over here and that are resistor, inductor and capacitor. These are the components by which we are going to form various simple circuits over here in this video lecture series of basic electrical engineering. So let's start with the first one and that is resistor. So first of all, what is resistor? Before discuss register, let me tell you what is resistance exactly. And that is the opposition offered by a substance to a flow of electric current or you can say flow of electric charge. That is known as a resistance. In our previous video lecture, we have defined what is current and we know that what is current, that is directed flow of electric charge. But when we say the flow of electric charge, basically when we provide supply means voltage to any circuit, to any conductor, and because of that, when charges flow through that conductor body, we normally assume that electrons move freely through the body of that conductor, but that is not happening over here. Instead of that, what is exactly happening in that conductor? Let's discuss it by this cut section of the conductor. Here, this diagram, which is representing one small section of a conductor, in which these big circles, these dots are representing the atoms of that particular material of that conductor. And this red color dot, which is representing a free electrons, means you can consider as a charge. And when we will apply potential difference means EMF or voltage to or across that conductor, so because of that potential or because of that EMF, this red color charge will move from one point to another point. So let's assume that at this point where this red color dot is presented, we are providing negative and on other end we are providing positive supply. So because of that, now this electron will move from this current its current place to the next end of the conductor, but it will not move smoothly through the body. Why? Let's see over here. If we had provided potential difference and this conductor is moving in a particular direction, but as there are atoms are present in this body, so what will happen with that flow of electron? This when this electron will move to the particular direction, it will collide with the present atom, and because of that collision, that will move at a that will stop at a point where it will collide temporarily, and its direction will be changed for a moment, and again it will start its journey, but again it will collide with another atom, again for a moment it will stop. So because of this collision with atoms, this electron is not freely moving through the body of that conductor. So basically you can say that this collision with atoms are opposing the smooth flow of that electron, and that is nothing but a resistance. And that material or substance which is providing resistance to the flow of electron or charge, that is known as a resistor. So this is what is resistor and resistance. Now in this next topic we are going to discuss various factors which is affecting the value of the resistance, or in other way you can say factors upon which resistance depends. Again, you know, previously in 11th-12th physics we had derived the value of the resistance based on the physical dimension of a conductor. Let's suppose that in that given figure we have a conductor over here, and let's say its length which is given by L meter, its cross section area let's define by small a in meter square, and its resistivity let's define it by rho. So by considering these parameters we can measure its resistance, or we can calculate its resistance by this given equation, and that is R is equal to rho L by A. Based on this equation we can find out the relation between length, cross section area and rho with the resistance. So based on this equation, if first of all if I consider the length, then I can say that resistance of any material depends on the resistance of any material depends on length of that conductor. And if you observe the equation, you can say that R is directly proportional to L, length of that conductor. So if length of that conductor will increase, then resistance of that conductor will increase. Similar way, if length will decrease, resistance will decrease. Similarly, we can consider second parameter, and that is cross section area. Again, if you observe again equation, then we can derive one equation based on that. R is proportional to 1 upon A. That means it is inversely proportional to cross section area. So let's assume that if cross section area will increase, then resistance is inversely proportional. That means resistance will decrease. Vice versa. If cross section area will decrease, then resistance of that material will increase. That was the second parameter. Now next third parameter, and that is resistance depends on the nature of material, which is given over here. Third point, depends on nature of material. That means if we use different types of material to form a conductor, then they will have different atomic structure. So if they will have a different atomic structure, the number of collision with that free electron will change, and if number of collision in particular material will be high, that means it will have a high resistance, and if number of collision will be less, then it means there will be less resistance. So basically resistivity of that some particular conductor depends on types of material. And here from this equation we can observe that R is dependent on this rho. If material will change, this value of this rho will change, and because of that resistance will change. So indirectly we can say that resistance depends on types of material. So that was the third parameter. Now in next parameter, and that is temperature. Means resistance depends upon temperature. That is the fourth parameter over here. That means if we change the temperature of any material, then what will happen? There will be change in their atomic structure, basically which will change the resistivity of that material, and because of that resistance will change. So if temperature will change, then resistance of that material will change. So here, first of all, if we consider conductor, and if we increase the temperature of conductor, then the resistance of conductor will increase. In case of semiconductor and insulator, if we increase the temperature, resistance of those material will decrease. So now let's discuss the next topic, and that is specific resistance or resistivity means rho. So here in this given figure, we had considered a conductor in which we had considered that length of this given material is 1 meter and cross-sectional area of this given material is 1 meter square. So here basically in this equation, if you put the L is equal to 1 and similarly A is equal to 1. So at that time we get the R is equal to rho. So based on this we can define the resistivity. So what is resistivity? That is nothing but a value of resistance of that material when we consider its length is equal to 1 meter as well as when we consider its cross section area is equal to 1 meter square. And at that time what we find out the value of its resistance, that value of its resistance defines resistivity of that specific material. So this was the specific resistance or resistivity rho. Now next we are going to discuss conductance. And what is that? That is the reciprocal of resistance and that is called conductance. That means 1 upon R. So let's say if a conductor having a resistance of R, that means we can define its conductance G and that can be defined by 1 upon R. Now let's start the next parameter and that is inductor. First of all, what is inductor? An element that stores electrical energy in form of a magnetic field. First of all, this is a symbol of a inductor over here, and normally we know that what is inductor. We know that it by another term, and that is coil. Coil is nothing but a simple inductor. Now, based on that, what is inductance? Now, inductance is the property of coil to oppose any change in the magnitude or the direction of flow of current. Means it is a property due to which it means inductor opposes the any change in magnitude or the direction of the current. That is known as a inductance. And here we had considered inductor over here, and let's consider if we are providing current to this inductor, then it will produce a magnetic field surrounding it. So if we provide a current to this coil over here, and that is given by this capital I current, and because of that this red color lines which are representing field lines of this inductor. And again, if you change the magnitude of this current, so if we are changing the magnitude of current, let's consider that we are increasing the value of current and we are decreasing the value of current. So with change in current, here we can observe that magnitude of this magnetic flux is also changing. If current will be high, then this magnetic flux will be high. If current will be low, the magnetic flux will be again low. Now, again, next point in this same theory, what is the unit of inductor? That is given over here, and that is Henry. We can define the value of inductance in Henry. And again, if we define the value of inductance, that can be defined by L is equal to N pi by I. Now, what is N over here? N, that means number of turns in this coil. If we will have a high number of turns, then value of the inductance will be high as it will produce high magnetic field. Another parameter, that is magnetic field itself. If flux will be high, that means here we have a high inductance. And last one is the current I. So L is equal to nothing but a N pi by I. Now in this same topic again, when we define various kind of inductor, mainly we will study two types of inductor. First one, that is a constant or fixed inductor. Another inductor, that is variable. For an inductor, if we define the relation between voltage and current, that can be given by this equation V is equal to L di by dt. Or if you integrate both sides, you can define this value in terms of current, and that can be given by I is equal to in integration 1 upon L V dt. Similarly, you can derive the power for inductor by P is equal to V into I, And similar way, if you derive the energy for inductor, energy stored in inductor, that can be defined by this given equation, and that is E is equal to 1 half Li square. So this was the inductor. Now next, inductor when they are in series and parallel connection, and if we need to find out the total inductors, here two inductors L1 L2 are in series and next L1 and L2 are in parallel. So if both are in series connection, we can find out the equivalent value of that inductance by L1 plus L2, and when both inductor will be in parallel, we can define its value by this given equation, and that is L1 into L2 divided by L1 plus L2. Now, next parameter, and that is capacitor. What is capacitor? Capacitor is an element which store electrical energy in form of static charge and static electricity. Or next is capacitor. What is capacitor? Is the property of or ability of capacitor to store electric charge. Means it is a property or ability. How much charge will be stored in that capacitor? So that ability or capacity of a capacitor is nothing but a capacitance. And here we have a diagram in which we have one capacitor over here, and we know the basic structure of capacitor, in which we take the two conducting plates. So here in this diagram, this first plate which is in light color, which is conducting material, again at lower side this is another plate again which is made of another conducting material, and in between these two plates we can find out another layer of material, that is a dielectric material. In other way you can say insulating material. So basically what is the basic structure of a capacitor? In basic structure of a capacitor we have two conducting plates, and that is separated by a dielectric or insulating material, and that is basic capacitor. And we can define its value of capacitance by this given equation, that is C is equal to epsilon naught epsilon r into A divided by D. Here A, that is the cross sectional area of these plates, and D, that is the distance between these two plates, and this epsilon which is permittivity, epsilon naught that is absolute permittivity, and epsilon r that is relative permittivity. Now first of all we know that the relation for capacitor between capacitance, charge and voltage, and that is given over here, and that is C is equal to Q by V. Based on this equation we can derive the value of the current, and that is given by this equation, I is equal to C dV by dt. And based on this we can derive the value of the power for capacitor, that is P is equal to VI, and if we put this value we can define the power for capacitor, and based on that we can define the energy stored in capacitor by this given equation, and that is 1 half CV square, where C is capacitance and V is voltage across the capacitor. So this was the various terms related to capacitor. Now when capacitor will be in series and parallel connection, what will be the equivalent capacitor? So when C1 and C2 will be in series connection, C1 into C2 here, C1 into C2 and divided by C1 plus C2. And when this both will be in parallel connection, so equivalent capacitance can be defined by this given equation, and that is C1 plus C2. So these were the basic electrical component: resistor, inductor and capacitor. Based on these three parameters, we will form various electrical circuits, and this will be going to discuss in this subject, basic electrical engineering. So thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned again. Thank you.